Hey guys, Reckoning here, and welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. Last time, we got drunk. Something like that. In this part, we'll be dealing with our hangover. Alrighty. I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes, or at least some of it, as I walked to the counter. Tending to someone with a hangover isn't the way I like to spend a morning. It only takes a few seconds for the glass to fill, the clear water reflecting the sliver of light that makes through the thin curtains. It looks like Lily's taken a seat on the side of the bed. I walk over to her while taking care to step over the peacefully sleeping Hanako and place the glass into her outstretched hands. Thank you. No problem. I did take a seat next to her, the soft bed having a surprising amount of give. She drinks slowly and methodically. A long silence passes with only Hanako's soft breathing to be heard. With some measure of guilt, I look at Lily's face and attempt to read her expression. Her brows furrowed, and she looks to be lost in thought. For a moment I hesitate, but eventually place a hand on her shoulder in an attempt to reassure her. I didn't expect her to flinch rather noticeably at that, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Lily quickly shakes her head, in a manner somewhat more violent than usual for her. She takes a long breath to steady herself before letting her head sink. I must look terrible right now. I move to protest, but quickly realize that it'd be futile to do so. That said, I want her to open up more. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here. Lily gives a self-deprecating snort, as if to mock her own emotions. There's just a lot happening right now. Sorry for being so strange recently, especially back when we were in town. Even now I'm a bit confused about everything. Believe me, I know how that feels. She smiles wistfully, resting a cheek on the backs of her fingers. We're a couple of broken young fools, aren't we? Come on, don't say that. Come graduation, we'll be back out in the real world. The real world? Sometimes I surprise myself with the way I think about things. I guess the strange divorce feeling of Yamaku in the surrounding town compared to the outside world still hasn't become natural. Maybe it never will. It's strange, in hindsight. Being isolated from society like this doesn't feel as bad as it probably should. A wry grin on her face, Lily seems to share the same sense of amusement at the idea. Eventually, though, her smile drops. I'll be going back to Scotland for a week or two soon. Is that why we had to reschedule Hanako's birthday party? She gives an affirmative nod. You'll be able to see your family again, at least. You're not looking forward to it? I haven't met my family in 6 years. I don't even know how to act around them anymore. Wait, what? My mouth hangs open as I try to process what she said. If she's 18, that means she'd have to be only 12 when they left. I may have seen very little of my parents, with them working long hours, but that's... I feel utterly useless as I struggle to find some way to respond. That's... But why? Why did they leave, or why are they inviting Akira and I back? Both, I suppose. My father's business has its headquarters in Scotland, and an executive position became available for him there. In the end, he had to move permanently. My mother followed him, but Akira and I stayed in Japan for the sake of both Akira's job within the Japanese branch of my father's company and my education. As for the latter, one of my aunts is gravely sick. I'm sorry. Don't be. It feels strange, really. We're being summoned there for her, yet we've barely met before. I can't even remember the sound of her voice. Equally strange is the total lack of antipathy? Oh, why does my vocabulary suck at these times? Well, then again, I've never seen that word before. Whatever. See, equally strange is the total lack of, we'll just say, antipathy she feels toward her family for doing such a thing. I can't help feeling slightly humbled. That said, her wistful exterior is just hiding her emotions. Seeing her like this is depressing. Knowing what to do, I lift myself off the bed. Lily notices the bed's movements, her head perking up and her hand reaching sideways to feel where I was. Hisao? I walk over to my bag, still leaning against the wall. Unbuckling the front flap and retrieving the opaque bag from within, I take the small plain box in my hands. Hold your hands out, Lily. She looks surprised for a moment, but eventually acquiesces. I don't know how to pronounce that word, though I have seen it before. I'm not perfect. I'm amused by her look of curiosity when I place the music box into her open palms, her typically delicate way of handling it making it seem as if it were fragile enough to break if breathed on. She wordlessly brings it in front of her face, her slender fingers feeling out its contours and patterning. Eventually her fingers find the recessed line between the lid and body of the box, and her thumb effortlessly pops open the lid. I take a seat on the bed next to her, watching her face silently and intently. She sits completely motionless as she listens to the diminutive tinny melody, her mouth just slightly open. It takes a long while before she closes the lid with a small snap, bringing the curtain down on the miniature performance playing in her hands. The smile on her face, gentle and wistful, shows that I made the right decision. Think of it as a going-away present for your trip to Scotland. I will. A restless shuffling can be heard from the floor in front of us, the sound having woken Hanako. She climbs out of the blankets I put over her, looking befuddled and wiping the sleep from her eyes. I see you're finally up. What? Hanako looks around the room with her eyes only half open, her mind far from being as awake as her body. Her dazed state makes me and Lilly chuckle. As Lilly gets off the bed and tends to Hanako, I take one last look around the room. Guess I better get going then. There'll be questions if I'm seen leaving the girls' dormitories in the morning. Goodbye, Hisao. Oh, goodbye. I stand and walk to the door, picking up my somewhat lighter bag along the way. After I leave the room and enter the hallway, though, I hear Lily's footsteps behind me. What's wrong? Without a word, she strides up to me. I freeze as I feel her hand slide up to my cheek, seemingly every nerve taking in the feeling of her fingers and palm upon it. Immediately after, her face slowly moves next to mine, a light momentary touch of her lips brushing against my other cheek. For a moment, everything seems to stand still. I absent-mindedly bring my fingers to my cheek, as if to try and recapture that fleeting feeling. Lilly. That's my thank you, Hisao. Thank you. For your present. Have a nice day in school. And with that, she disappears behind her door and gently closes it, the muffled voices of she and Hanako audible through it as much as they were yesterday night. I think I'd be hard-pressed not to have a nice day after that. I walk away with a certain spring to my step. I think there were some people around that glanced at me emerging from the girls' dormitory building, but I find it difficult to care. Hee-chan. Go away. Hee-chan. Leave me alone. Come on, Hee-chan. Let me sleep. After 2 nights of not being able to sleep at all, the last thing I want is to be woken when I finally manage to. It may be the last period of class with a textbook as my pillow, but I'll take whatever sleep I can get by this point. See, Hee-chan, even Shi-chan wants you to get up. I don't care what Shizune wants. Leave me alone. Jeez, Hee-chan, I'll just have to wake... Wait, Misha's going to... You... This is bad. I'm up! You don't have to... I can feel my face flowering into a scarlet red blush. The students still in class are bolting upright and staring at the shouting fool who was sleeping just moments before. Damn it. I let my head smack back on the table with a noticeable thud. Wah! Misha's trademark uncontrolled laughter reverberates through the classroom. As I turn my mournful eyes to the bespectacled Shizune beside her, she carefully adjusts her glasses, desperately trying to maintain a look of serious disapproval. Narrowing my eyes, I can see the badly hidden grin spreading across her face. Et tu, Shizune? Shizune looks away quickly as she crosses her arms tightly, barely on the edge of her control. I have no idea what he said to her, by the way. Wah! Misha's laughter doubles in volume as she glances at Shizune. All I can do is drag my hand down my face in resignation. You too. Who was the one who slept in class, Hee-chan? Yeah, it was me. Poor Shi-chan was having a fit trying to wake you up, weren't you? I've moved my eyes back to the standoffish Shizune, who with a single huff of confirmation returns to looking away with her arms crossed. Why was Shizune trying to wake me up? Shi-chan wanted to give you the handouts the substitute teacher gave out while Hee-chan was sleeping. Handouts? I suddenly find 2 sheets of paper thrust down in front of my face. Following the hand holding them, I see the still pounding figure looking down at me with a distinct scowl. Guess I really am in the wrong here. Sorry about that. No dice. Her irritated face still holds. I clasp my hands together and flick my head downward in apology. Very, very sorry. She huffs and simply drops the papers on the desk. Damn. I look up over my hands to see Shizune and Misha signing frantically to each other, a look of frustration on Shizune's face. It looks to be less of a dialogue and more of a tirade, punctuated with the sidelong glances at me. To say it's unsettling is an understatement. The two suddenly stop signing and look at me in unison, both having exactly the same look of disapproval. In one fluid motion, Misha's hand suddenly extends high above me and comes rocketing down. Before I can even hope to react, my head is sent bouncing up and down like a jack-in-the-box. I quickly bring my hands to my head, more of a reflex out of actual pain. Ow, what was that for? I opened my eyes to see the two grinning at each other while exchanging an enthusiastic thumbs up. Chi-chan says she forgives you now, He-chan. Could you forgive me with a little less force next time? It's a legitimate reaction. Wah! I looked at the two with a blank face. Misha and Shizune 1, Hisao 0. Oh, Shi-chan also says you should check your student mail more often. She produces a bright yellow envelope and hands it over with an exuberant grin. We all know what's in this envelope. Strange. Who could have written me a letter? Now is not the time and it was definitely not the place to find out, though. Giving up on the nap so cruelly stolen from me, I rub my forehead and slowly get up, putting the sheets and envelope in my bag before swinging it over my shoulder. I take a step back and move to depart with a small bow, while Misha clutches her sides laughing and Shizune nods back in a curt farewell. I join the flow of students exiting the open door and turn the corner into the hallway, only to end up face to face with Hanako. Whoa, hey Hanako. Good afternoon, Sal. Silence falls between us as busily chatting students pass us by. She's fidgeting constantly, her eyes drawn to her rather unremarkable footwear. I take the bridge of my nose in my fingers while I blink my eyes heavily in an attempt to make things seem clearer. I'm barely staying awake as it is. Hanako, you want to say something. What is it? I wanted to give you this. She holds out a small rectangular piece of paper. I blink again to make out the text through barely open eyes, slowly starting to make out what's written. Eggs, 2. Bread loaf, 1. It's a shopping list, you can see that. A shopping list? I look upward, raising an eyebrow. I usually go shopping with Lilly, but I can't come, so... You want me to run errands for you? It's okay if you don't want to, I just thought that maybe, She's panicking. I sigh. Yet another battle lost, though this time by a weakly fought surrender. I smile tiredly and rest a hand on her head to calm her down. It's fine, I was going to anyway. Just stuff on this list? She nods and bows deeply twice, as if to make her gratitude perfectly clear. We were going to meet outside the school gates at 6. Thank you, I was going to get it, but I need to study for the test tomorrow. Test? Ah, that's right, science. How are you doing with it? She brightens ever so slightly. I've been spending more time on it than before. I think I can do okay. Good work, then. She too starts smiling, and much more earnestly than I at that. I have full confidence that I can do fine in it without any extra studying, but the fact that she's putting in the effort instead of just reading in the library is heartening. I'll grab your stuff and take it to the dorm in the evening. See ya. With a small wave, we part ways. I'll go do my homework before meeting Lilly. Should be able to take care of it in time. Wrangling with a particularly complicated math problem has caused me to be a little bit late for my meeting with Lilly. Only a couple of minutes, but enough to make me step smartly out of the courtyard into the school gate. I make a right turn and start my way toward the small town below, leaving a few students turning the other way to the bus station. I slip my right hand in my pocket as I walk in the orange sunlight of dusk. Thankfully, the sweltering summer heat started to die down, making way for a pleasant, cool breeze. When I stretch my hands high above my head, a familiar figure takes form, cane in her right hand. Ah, Lilly. She stops and turns around, swiveling her head slightly to try and work out exactly where the voice came from. Hey, it's me. I quickly catch up to her, coming in beside and matching her slow pace as we resume walking. Good afternoon, Hisao. Hi there. I glance up at the sky. A distinct tinge of orange discolors the clouds, washing the footpath in its light. Long shadows from the trees fall across the wide road down the hill. So, Hisao, what brings you here? Just going to town to grab some groceries. Hanako sent me. Hanako sent you? Yeah, said she needed to study for a test tomorrow. I was going to come down anyway, so I'll just buy her stuff as well. Unspoken is that Lily really could use some help to get food, but it's an obvious fact that neither of us needs to state. It's good to hear she's studying for it. I thought the same thing when she asked me to come with you. We continue walking down the street, the familiar sound of her cane echoing through the air as we go. Except for the occasional passing car and the leaves whispering in the branches, there's a blissful silence. Thank God I can finally relax for the first time today. I glance over at Lily. That porcelain face of hers never seems to lack that air of relaxed confidence. I guess the same could be said of her personality, too. As she silently walks, her face remaining pointed at the street ahead of her, I look ahead and savor the cool air blowing over my face. This is probably the calmest moment I've had since the about-face my life took so recently. To have it while walking to get some groceries. Well, what a weird life. I feel the crumpled up note rubbing against my hand in my pocket and pull it up to check its contents. Let's see here. Eggs, bread, cereal, thyme, lettuce, shaved ham. Sounds like quite a bit to carry back along with your own. Yeah, just how much does this girl eat anyway? My mind suddenly clicks that yes, there actually is a person beside me. Wait, I mean... She laughs wholeheartedly. My, Hisao. Her giggles punctuate her words, though she's making little effort to suppress them. Quite direct today, aren't we? Yeah, you got me there. Still, it is quite a bit. Usually I go shopping with Hanako, so I know what she buys. It's the same thing every week. Huh. Is she a good cook? She gives a nervous giggle. It's usually me who ends up cooking. I used to do so for Akira, so it's no problem doing it for Hanako as well. You can cook, but... A short hum with an amused lilt emanates from beside me. Wonder if the fact that she seems amused by my comments so often is actually genuine, or rather just from a want to make me more comfortable in addressing her blindness. There are ways around it. Some meals are more difficult to cook than others because of being unable to see what I'm doing, but it usually only takes a little more time. Fingers can double as very useful measurement tools, for example. It makes sense, but she'd have to be pretty careful not to hurt herself. Wonder how many times that's happened, given that she's cooked alone for possibly years, while Akira worked and her parents were gone. With that, the conversation trails off. Compared to the awkward silences of Hanako, Lily seems genuinely content to say what she thinks and stay quiet when there's nothing to say. The slick road under my feet is bathed in an orange glow, the occasional falling leaf crunching underfoot as we walk. I let out a deep yawn, my lack of sleep coming back to haunt me. Did you not get much sleep last night? I couldn't sleep at all for the last 2 nights. Probably insomnia. Lily's face suddenly becomes worried. It feels like a personal failure every time she gets worried about my well-being, even if it's genuinely nice to know someone cares. You have insomnia? Aren't you going to see the nurse about it? Nah, no real need. It's happened before a few times. My meds screw with my sleeping occasionally. Ah, I'm sorry. Come on, it's not your fault. At least I shouldn't have any trouble getting to sleep tonight. You do worry me sometimes. I worry you? I reach around and scratch the back of my neck. I kind of want to address this. Hey, Lily. I don't mean to sound weird, but please try to forget about my heart condition. She looks kind of lost. I hardly blame her. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, just don't treat me differently because of it. She bows her head slightly, her white cheeks reddening almost imperceptibly. It's only natural to worry about those around you. Well, it's still nice to know that there's someone like that out there. Maybe it's somewhat embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. Lily takes a breath to regain her composure and manages a gentle smile, though her cheeks remain flushed. The final downhill walk to the store passes in silence. Storewoman. Why give her a voice? She's got like 3 lines. Welcome! I don't know. I suppose I'll get my stuff first and Hanako's on the second round. I grab 2 well-worn red baskets from the stack beside the entrance and pass one to Lily. Just as she did before, she lays it on the ground and slides her retracted cane between the basket's handles before picking it back up with her right hand. When she takes hold of my arm in her own, I'm surprised at just how fast this kind of casual contact became so natural. Mostly due to necessity, no doubt. Shall we? Sure. While we navigate around the store, the odd person occasionally passing by pays us no heed at all. It's nice compared to the stares and whispers around the city. As we reach each aisle, I quickly check with Lilly what she needs and grab it along with what I want, putting our items into their respective baskets. It's an odd feeling to be dependent on so much for something so basic as shopping. Hanako would be practically a necessity for her to pick out what she wants, after all. Right, I'm pretty much done with both my stuff and Hanako's. You needing anything else, Lilly? No, this should be everything. Off we go, then. Oddly, there's a queue a mile long. Considering the store is only large enough to warrant one counter, seems like it'll take a while. Damn. Lilly gives an inquisitive look, unable to see the reason for my complaint. The queue's really long. Looks like we'll have to wait. How strange. Sharing the same mood of resignation, we reluctantly take our place at the end of the line. One person finishes, the line moves up. Another person finishes, the line moves up. Yeah, that's usually how it works. By the time we finally reach the head of the line, I'm close to dozing off. I'm so close to dozing off that Lilly has to gently pat me on the back for me to move up. Hisao! Sorry. She gives a short sigh of consternation as I move up, getting the groceries for Hanako and I put into separate bags. Thank you, please come again. See, now you should give me points. I could have done something really stereotypical and racist right there, but I didn't. I'm the bigger person. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking in my head, but whatever. By the time we emerge from the store, Lilly holding a single bag while I struggle to carry 4, both hands well and truly full. It's a lot of work, but thankfully the items in them are light. Even without looking skyward, it's obvious that a surprising amount of time's passed, the road outside being dark and lit by street lamps. Once Lilly retrieves her cane, we set back out to the dormitories the way we came, leaving the welcoming, warm glow at the store. Despite the road being empty of cars, the full bags abundantly make up for the lack of noise, constantly clunking and squeaking together. My, Hisao. It's good to find that you're eating well. I'm a growing guy, after all. I need to eat all I can. It must be nice being a man. What? Seemingly not noticing or ignoring my surprise at the completely out-of-left-field comment, she continues on without missing a beat. Weight doesn't really bother you when you're eating most of the time. I get what you mean. Women tend to worry about stuff like that more than we do, I guess. Exactly. It makes me somewhat envious, to be honest. Well, it's not like we can outright ignore it. With an affirmative nod, we continue on our walk. Huh, that's right. What is it? Hanako mentioned your birthday was earlier this year. Do anything special for it? She gives a long pause, lost in thought for a few seconds as she recalls the event. Not really. It's just Hanako and I having a little party during the night after school. The birthday's supposed to be a big event, you know. Sounds like a pretty lonely way to spend a birthday, just she and Hanako staying overnight. Birthdays always felt like a family occasion for me. There were times when, in spite of their full-time jobs, both my parents would make an effort to be there for the day, or at least for a party beforehand. It reminds me of how Lilly mentioned she hadn't seen her family in such a long time, and even ended up moving away from Akira's house afterward. But I guess it's the same in situations as mundane as these. Considering her inability to read the packaging, just getting groceries would be a pain without somebody else around. In the end, she just has Hanako and I, and Akira when she's off from work. Be that as may, she still seems to have many more distant friends among the students, not to mention people like Yuko. It seems to be her own choice that there's such a separation between those who are close to her and those who she only socializes with. It humbles me a little to see how much Lilly seems to have her life set up and going just as she wants. Yet Hanako's there for her to celebrate her birthday, and I'm here helping with shopping. It's a weird kind of symbiosis, I suppose. Are you alright, Hisao? Sorry? You just seem to go very quiet, that's all. Ah, sorry, I was just thinking. Oh? Ah, now I've piqued your curiosity. It's kind of overly personal to talk about, though. Okay, telling the truth adds a Lilly point, and avoiding the subject subtracts a Lilly point. I don't know what it affects, so let's add the Lilly point and tell the truth. It was just kind of... I was thinking about how you seem to have everything so sorted out, even with Hanako relying on you. I can admit that even I kind of relied on you when I first transferred in. think it's a good quality to have. I turned to Lilly, surveying her reaction. She's forcing herself to look forward and furrowing her brow quite a bit. Her face looks a bit awkward, as if she was trying to find just the right words. Lilly? I would thank you, but assuming that I don't rely on the presence of others too much, you'd be wrong to think that Hanako simply depends on me with nothing in return. She seems to have a bit of trouble in saying it, even though it's largely what I'd thought already. If she's tried so hard to maintain her independence, as anyone would have had to in her position, decided or not, maybe she finds it too hard to talk about her own needs. It's only now that I realize an omission in what she says, though. I decide to follow it up, largely in jest, to avoid things getting too personal. Oh, and what about me? She suddenly runs ahead and turns, blocking me off. With a smile, she holds her hands behind her as she leans forward. You're different. And with that, she turns back and continues to walk ahead of me, a newfound spring in her step. All I can do is raise an eyebrow and give a dazed grin. I don't think I've ever seen this playful and teasing side of her before. So, I'm different. It's hard to work out the exact context, but knowing her, this ambiguity was intended. Our relationship has been changing, at the very least because I've begun to stand on my own feet more and started getting curious about the situation of those around me. As to why, probably a mix of personal curiosity, and I want to try and work out how to deal with my situation. I'm less sure of Lilly, though. That's why her own statement is so similar to my own feelings toward her. It throws me off so much. Watching her make her way up the street, cane tapping from left to right, I decide to settle the matter later and just smile. This is a nice side to her, and I don't want to forget it. Eventually we get to the girls' dormitories, both my arms aching from the weight of the 2 sets of groceries. We're finally here. Phew. I bend down to wipe my forehead with the back of my hand. Lilly stops in front of her door and sets down her bag, fishing around in her pocket for the key. Thank you, Miss Sal. I really appreciate your help. This is nothing. It might be nothing to you, but it's definitely something for me. And with that, she steps through her door, closing it behind her. I blink. Those were nothing but honest thanks, but I can't help feeling something different about them. Anyway, I have something else to do before I can mull on that at my leisure. I turn back to the door to Hanako's room and proceed to knock twice in quick succession, the bag still in my hand rustling together. After a couple of seconds, the door slowly opens. If one weren't looking closely, that could have been forgiven for thinking it hadn't moved at all. I twist my head aside and try to peer through the tiny sliver of gap between the door and door frame. Hey, Hanako, got your stuff. With that, she opens the door completely, making her plain room visible over her shoulder. Sparsely decorated, it's probably even more unremarkable than my room. I hold out my right arm, both bags almost pulling it straight back down with their weight. Thank you, Miss Sal. I'm sorry to make you carry them all this way. It's fine, don't worry. Just don't make me do it every day, okay? I pass the bags to her as I give her a light-hearted chuckle. After the initial transfer of weight, she manages to take them easily. I'll be off then. Night, Hanako. Good night, see you in class tomorrow. With a deep bow, her groceries still held in both hands, she steps back and shuts the door. Making my way back to my own dorm, I put one bag into the other hand to balance them out. Even as I do so, I can't get Lily's light-hearted smile out of my mind. When I'd first met her, it would have been nearly impossible to imagine her like that. Indeed, it feels like we've become closer in the past few weeks since I first got to know both she and Hanako. The time that I spend with her each day, the small exchanges of happiness we share, the small moments of joy as I get closer to her. I'm far from certain, but I don't think these are just the normal feelings of friendship. Once I return to my room, I store away my groceries and begin getting ready for the night. I swap the school books in my bag for those I'll need tomorrow, pulling out the yellow envelope Misha gave me earlier in the process. I got so sidetracked by one thing after another that I couldn't deal with it earlier. Who could have written me, I wonder? The name neatly adorning the back of the envelope freezes me in my tracks. It's been so long since I've seen her writing, and there's little chance I could have identified it as hers otherwise. Iwanako. Why should she have written me? Can't think of any good reason for her to do this. I almost don't open the letter. There'd be little point to that. If I just left it alone, its mere existence would gnaw at me until I did something about it. Caged Heart. Decent. I look down at the piece of paper on my desk, its bright and summery decoration beaming happily at me. The lettering is in pink, jarring badly with the yellow sunflower border of the card. The handwriting is neat, the characters have been written thoughtfully and with an unusual amount of care. I'd barely given the letter a second thought when it was given to me, but now I can't get its contents out of my mind. While I'd like to say that I don't know why she used such an old-fashioned method of communication, considering a phone call or an email would have been much faster and easier, the answer feels obvious enough given the content. A letter leaves a comfortable distance between the sender and the recipient. Unlike a phone, it isn't required that you engage in conversation, and unlike email, there's less expectation of immediate reply. Statements such as, "The third years seem to be very anxious about the final terms, and it's so weird to think we are already seniors, isn't it?" Or just small talk. Small talk that could have been achieved by simply replying to any of the messages I had sent her while in the hospital. The ending, though, is the true reason she sent this. The last couple of lines added almost as an afterthought. "I wonder if we'll meet again. Perhaps it's for the best if we don't?" It's a statement that should hurt. I've always heard breakups are nasty stuff, but it feels like this is simply a reaffirmation of what we both already knew existed. Or already knew instead. Whatever. It's the preceding text, no more than small talk, that makes me most uneasy. I can't figure out why, no matter how long I sit here and look down at this bright and summery piece of paper. If you'd like to correspond with me, by all means write me back. It's plainly obvious that this is not the type of letter to be replied to. In the end, this letter is no more than a simple abdication of responsibility, a final statement to reassure herself that our relationship is over. As such, I find I have little problem in scrunching the letter and envelope into a ball and tossing it into the waste bin, ridding myself of its existence. I go to bed with mixed feelings, cheated out of a pleasant evening by this intruder from the past. Ironically, it takes a while before I can manage to sleep. Gotta put my mouse down just to get a drink. It's ridiculous. That's better. I sweat profusely, awaiting the dreaded moment. Each tick of the clock tenses my muscles that much more, every minute making more hairs stand on end. It's coming for me. I can feel it. Death. Death in the form of a single sheet of paper. Had you worried there, didn't it? I take the small pile of papers from the student in front of me and pass it backward after plucking off the top piece. Looking to the top right of the page, I find my fears realized with that small red circle. 43. I hang my head and sigh in resignation. Cursing under my breath, I can feel the aura of a similar sentiment rising from the entire class. It's strange, but that fact lifts my mood by a minuscule amount. Misery loves company, I suppose. As the teacher opens his mouth, the room braces for the inevitable onslaught, only to be saved at the last minute. We quickly move to collect our bags and leave for the lunch post-haste, but the teacher delivers a parting broadside. We'll be discussing the class's test scores next lesson. Needless to say, there will be quite some discussion to be had. A collective groan resounds from the class, now reduced to shuffling out dejectedly. Yeah, that wasn't science. Otherwise we would have seen Muto. So yeah, Hisao still does good on science, but not that subject, and we'll find out what that is in a minute or two. Unless I decide to end off the video pretty soon. I don't think I'm going to do that. Not yet. I push the sheet into my bag as I walk along the hallway, crumpling it in the process. It's enough that such a troublesome letter ended up on my desk yesterday, and now this. I hate English. I don't know who this is. That's yelling Hisao, though. A stern female voice gruffly calls out from behind me. I freeze on the spot, my face becoming like stone. It's as if I can feel my brain disconnecting from my body. My eyes slowly shift right, trying to catch a glimpse of this disembodied voice. Nothing? My face begins to slip as time passes, and I decide to risk turning my head. Ever so slowly, I twist it to the... Gah! I jump into the air and drop my bag, yelling out in surprise. As I recover and regain my composure, I turn to see... I should have known. Emmy. Gotcha, Hisao. She stands there with a mischievous grin on her face, hands forward and fingers pointed inward. She was the one who grabbed my ribs with her fingers. I looked down at her with a grimace, rubbing my hair in frustration. There's no way to greet someone, you know. You have no sense of humor. I left my sense of humor in my English class. Complain to the teacher if you want to give it back to me. She rolls her best puppy dog eyes on me. She pouts. Lilly's managed to build up my resistance to the tactic, but Emmy's short stature adds enough to the effect to make me relent. So, how are things? Haven't seen you around for a while. Same old, same old. I run so fast nobody wants to join me on my morning runs. It's a real pain. Her modesty never fails to amuse me. Although... Uh-oh. You know what I'm thinking, don't you, Asao? Wearing my emotions on my sleeve is one of my worst habits. She's seen right through me. Fortunately, I see somebody else approaching us that will give me an out. Oh, hi, Kaneko. I give her a welcoming wave and try my best to look like I haven't noticed Emmy's pouting face. She gives a small wave back. Hello, Asao. Emmy. Hey, Hanako. I'll join you and Lilly in a sec. Actually, speaking of lunchtime company, it's odd to see you without Ren, Emmy. Ah, Ren! Without a second word, she forgets all about us and bolts off up the hallway. She must have forgotten she was waiting for her. Hanako and I stand speechless, only able to helplessly stand and watch this ball of seemingly boundless energy dash off. Oh yeah, Hisao. She suddenly stops herself just before vanishing around the corner of the rooftop staircase, spinning around to meet our bemused faces. I hate English too. And with that, she disappears. All I can do is hang my head and give a long sigh, thoroughly left in the dust. As I hear a short giggle coming from behind me, I turn to see Hanako smiling at the corner my attacker rounded. I pick up my drop bag from the floor and quickly dust it off. Afternoon. Been busy? You don't like English? Oh, nah, I had a test on it a while back and then they caught me brooding about the results. Ah, sorry. She averts her gaze, guilt-ridden into her face. A casual observer would think she just accidentally reminded me of a dead relative. Come on, it's not your fault. How are you doing in it? She looks up, though still avoids meeting my eyes. Alright, I suppose. An awkward silence passes. They seem all too common around Hanako. Oh, Lilly asked if you'd like to join us for lunch on the roof. Guess I don't exactly have any pressing engagements to attend to. Sure, I'll be right up. I'll go get my lunch from the cafeteria now, then. Go on, you don't need my approval to leave, you know. Okay, I'll be going then. She gives a skittish reply, a small nod, and quickly makes off toward the cafeteria. I guess she must have forgotten to bring lunch today. As I walk through the hallways, more and more students start to come out of classrooms and past me, going in the same direction as Hanako went. By the time I manage to make it to the stairs, I'm having to push my way past a busily chatting throng of students. I finally managed to get past the last of the crowd and round the staircase, slumping slightly in relief and slowing my pace before I open the door to the roof. Ah, damn! I momentarily avert my eyes, all but blinded by the harsh summer sun. As I slowly regain my vision, the surroundings finally take form. Lilly, Emmy, and Ren sit together on the rooftop, the top of the hilltop forest around Yamaku visible past the fence around them, as if to frame the view. Ah, Hisao! Lilly and Ren give a quick nod of acknowledgement and a deep nod of grinning respectively. I start walking toward the rather mismatched trio and can't help marveling at the speed with which Emmy devours the rest of her half-eaten banana. Hey, strange to see you three together like this. It seems to have been quite the day of coincidences. Emmy and Ren decided to eat it on the roof, just as Hanako and I decided to. You stole it! This spot was ours! Simmer down, you can't steal a place in the school. I plonk myself down beside Lilly, the four of us creating a semicircle. I think she's right. You too? The butterfly's her accomplice. As I glance around, sure enough, a small yellow butterfly floats across my field of vision. So tell me, how did this butterfly help Lilly steal this spot? It scattered at our conversation and told her. I should have known better than to expect sound reasoning from Ren. Regardless, I guess it wouldn't hurt to play along. You're telling me she can talk to butterflies? There are people who can talk to horses, called horse whisperers. Lilly must be a butterfly whisperer. I bury my head in my hands as Emmy rounds on her strange companion. She doesn't seem to share Ren's sense of humor. Whisperers don't work like that. Amy and Ren continue their banter as I turn to Lily, who's busy finishing off her small box of curry and rice with a pair of wooden chopsticks. So what brought you up here, anyway? A little fresh air every now and again doesn't hurt. Ah! Amy breaks off from her vain attempts to introduce the concept of logic to Ren. That's why we came up here, too. Something tells me it was her idea alone that Ren only got dragged up here by Emmy's whim. Then again, the same could probably be said of Lily and Hanako. Now, we can share. The creaking of the door to the roof can be heard as soon as she says the words. A moment of silence falls over us as everyone's attention focuses on the figure appearing from it. Hanako slowly walks over to us. Eyes pinned to the ground, silently roaming the attention she's attracting. She tenses just barely when her eyes meet Ren's. I can't help but raising an eyebrow as she walks over to us and sits next to me, doing her utmost to avoid looking up even as she brings a cafeteria bread to her mouth. So how do you and Emmy know each other anyways? Emmy's somewhat well known around the school for her athletic ability. She's the fastest member of the track and field club by some margin, even beating Miki Miura at the track meet last week. Miki Miura. Ah, that tan girl from the front of my class. Considering her height and toned body, being able to beat her is quite an accomplishment. Looking over to Emmy, it's very clear she's well aware of this fact as she beams proudly. So, what was your score in English? Ouch. No comment. Boo. She puffs her cheeks and pouts, but it doesn't take long for her to bounce back. Alright, if I tell you mine, you'll have to tell me yours. Deal? Fine. Okay, on the count of 3, we'll both say our results. 1, 2, 3. 32! I beam a mischievous grin. Ah! Evil! You said it, not me. Still, the fact that you managed an even lower score than me is kind of amazing. Grrr. She looks and sounds like a small terrier growling at an intruder. I can't say it's the most threatening sight I've ever seen. Either way, scoring higher than 32 isn't something to boast about, much less scoring below it, for any subject. Yes, Lily. Sorry, Lily. I can help you with your English if you'd like. It'd be my pleasure to. No, that's fine. I appreciate the thought, really. Lily looks slightly deflated, her hopes of imparting her knowledge dashed. Judging from the badly hidden laughter from the rest of us, neither she nor Emmy seem to have garnered too much pity. As I sit happily laughing through, I feel my voice suddenly cut off as my chest clenches. I sit in silence for a few seconds, all my concentration forced on my heartbeat. It's only a small pain, but the ache feels like it's growing. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. I glance upward to try and keep at least some of my attention on my surroundings, to see Emmy suddenly freezing when she noticed the expression of pain on my face out of the corner of her eye. Hey, Sal, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I look back down and redouble my efforts to try and stay calm, clenching my fist to try and dull the pain. It takes a short time, but the pain, thankfully, begins to fade. When I look back up, there's only silence and pensive faces to be seen. Guess I'd better explain myself. Arrhythmia. I'm fine. It's just a heart flutter. Are you sure? Should we get the nurse? Taking her cue, Hanako quickly picks herself up and begins to dash to the door. Hanako, stop. Lily, I'm fine. You look like a wet, wrinkled tomato. Huh? As I bring my hand to my forehead, I can feel the beads of sweat gathered on it and dab them off my cuff. Thanks. I told you, I'm fine. I'm just kind of fragile, I guess. The entire atmosphere has changed from one of gaiety to downcast faces, the situation being too awkward for anyone to exactly know how to react. And of course, the whole thing is thanks to me. It just had to happen now around others. Oh, Emmy? She looks up, a box of juice halfway to her mouth. I haven't told you of my score yet, have I? Yeah, well, you're half foreign, so your score doesn't count anyway. Lifting an eyebrow, I inquisitively turned to Lily. What was your test result, anyway? She gives a cheeky grin. 100%. Perfect score. No way. All I can do is hang my mouth open in wonder. And with that, now I will end off the video. So next time on Let's Play Katawa Shoujo, we will continue this lunchtime chat, and most likely get into Act 3. I thought we'd be able to do in this video, but then I forgot there's a lot of scenes in between. So yeah, next time we continue this chat, get to Act 3, and then do whatever happens then. So, till then, I am Reckoning. You, the viewer, drop me a like or favorite if you like this video, leave me a comment, most likely challenge me to work on my speech patterns, and until next time, stay classy, everybody.